Okay, we are live. Hello, hello, and welcome to another live session with me, your host, Leslie Gadet, self-care strategist for ambitious women, helping you to stop managing stress and actually start mastering your time and energy and your well-being so you have more quality of life. Today, we have a special guest with us. I'll be speaking with Heather Falls. Heather is an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, digital marketer, and business growth strategist for women. She helps clients worldwide start and grow a business that gives them more money, time, and freedom. She's the founder of the Mompreneur Freedom Society, a monthly membership where she helps moms dream big, set and crush their business goals, and manage their time. Heather 15 years of experience in business planning, sales, and marketing in multiple industries, including retail, healthcare, fashion, food, nonprofit, and more. She left the healthcare and corporate space to put her son first, and now she inspires women and moms everywhere to go for their dreams and helps them create a business and life they love with more money, the time, and the freedom. And I love it. Heather, I'm so excited to have you with us today because I feel that you are exactly the expert when it comes to productivity and really a very important asset, which I believe we all have, which is our time. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Leslie, for having me today and just for inviting me to be the speaker on this topic. Because yes, I'm very passionate about this and I love speaking with you and being a part of your vision too. So thank you for asking me to be here.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, before we got on here today, I couldn't think of another person that was the perfect fit for this, and definitely you are. So today we're going to talk about balancing business and personal life so that you can actually have a personal life and a thriving business without burning out, which I find most people don't even recognize they're burning out or they're heading towards burnout, that their actions are taking them that way until they're in full on burnout. And that's when they're looking for the how to get out of that frame of mind, that reality that they find themselves in. Because I didn't know burnout until I actually started really researching it and found myself in it, and then realized there were like so many different ways that you can actually end up in burnout. And so I've talked a lot about that here on my channel, and really wanted to be able to like just share and create a space for people to learn about it and helping them so that they have like more quality of life, and then bringing again amazing experts like yourself onto the show so that you can really pour into the community and helping them, especially if they don't even realize like having an off day could actually be a reason for you to look at the way of life, like how you're living your life, and you actually could be in a burnout phase. So I want to talk to you about this because I really
Yeah.
am excited about what you do. You, in your work with Mompreneur Freedom Society, you focus on helping women create businesses that align with their personal lives and their values. So, what are some foundational steps you recommend for moms? I mean, I think women in general looking to build that business that supports both their professional goals, but also keeping their family priorities in place.
Yeah. So, and I'll be honest, a lot of things have changed in my own business, some pivots that I've had to make so that I don't avoid burnout. And I think that this topic is so hot because if you don't have foundational pieces in place in your business, you will get burnt out. It is not a matter of if, but when. Because so many of us, we just start a business because we have this passion, we have this joy. Something has lit a fire underneath us, and we want to pursue what makes us happy. We also, naturally want to create a life that gives us more money, time, and freedom. Like that's what we all want, right? But so many times, it's those initial steps that don't happen, and over time, your business evolves into something that sucks the life out of you, which is nothing that I want for you. And I know that you don't want it for yourself. And so a lot of times it's just going back to those foundations. So I love this question. Um, I, I help women who are juggling family and business. So my Mompreneur Freedom Society is just my very low ticket entry offer for moms who aren't quite sure what they need in their business, right? They know they're not making money. They know they want to start and grow a successful online business, but they don't know where to start and they don't know how to get the clarity behind that. So the first step that I would say is take time to identify what your core values are and what your family priorities are. Think about why you started this business in the first place. Go back to your why. How is it fitting into your family's unique needs? And then outline your non-negotiables, family dinners, weekends, vacations, your off hours. What does that schedule need to look like so that you're not working when you should be with your family? And I speak on a lot of these topics because I struggle with them. These are things that we all struggle with. Nobody is perfect. There are times when, my husband catches me sneaking to my office to try to work on some last minute task. And he's like, "Are you seriously at the computer working right now?" And I'm like, "Yes." So, I mean, it's a struggle we all have, even the best of us coaches, right? But what I love to do is just guide you in structuring your business so that it aligns with your family. Um, you know, Not just growth, but harmony. What does that work-life balance look like for you? Because it looks different to all of us. What I want to be able to achieve in my business, but also have time with my family, that could look like a 2 or 3 day work week. For another mom, it could be 1 day a week. There's so many different ways that we can create our business to work around our life. And that's what I help women do. So again, the foundations, knowing your core values and knowing your family needs.
I love that. I feel like that's what we don't get into business to work more. We don't get into business to have less quality of life.
Right.
People want to, and even if you're in a corporate environment, you don't go to work so that that's all that consumes you. You want to actually have a life outside of that. And I think that's what happens. What I've found, even just my own personal experience being in a corporate environment, is like everything, I felt like my life revolved around my job, and I felt like that there was no room for anything else. And I feel like that's so important for us to look at, like, how are we living our lives? I love the core values. For me, the core values is important because that's going to help you to be able to say the yes to the right things, the no or not right now to the things that don't align. I think that's important. And then knowing your family priorities. You want to make sure that your family is, they have those non-negotiable moments with you, and so that you're building those bonds. Because otherwise, like, what's the point? Like, people say, well, I want to be able to build this business and share it with someone, but if you're not around to share it with them, that means sharing the good times, like the down times, to be able to share the fruits of your labor. So I love that. So setting boundaries, like, right, is part of the equation, but staying accountable, I know this is really hard at times, to those boundaries can be a challenge. So what, especially because what you just mentioned, your husband has caught you on occasion, going into the office and to catch up on something where, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that's always a bad thing, because maybe you do have a moment, a break in whatever you're doing to actually go in and just finish something really quick. But when it comes to staying accountable, because I feel self-care should be on your calendar first, because when you do that, you can see it in black and white, but then the accountability piece comes down to you. So what methods do you suggest for entrepreneurs to hold themselves accountable and ensure they honor the boundaries that they've set?
Yeah, this is a really important topic as well, because again, it goes back to like what those core values are and those foundational pieces, because once you're able to put those foundations into place, then you can create a plan to achieve your big goals and your dreams, right? But setting boundaries is a little bit more difficult, especially if you work from home and your home office is in your home, right? Um, that's a completely different struggle for somebody who has a brick and mortar business or has a co-working space outside of their home, things like that. And to me, I have a lot of women asking me, okay, Heather, like, what can I do to be more accountable? But honestly, accountability at its core has to come from within. It is holding ourselves responsible to the goals and the intentions that we set for our business. And I know that sometimes that's easier said than done, but, look for ways where you can get that support when you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed or when you need feedback, right? And sometimes you might need more specific support. So if you struggle with holding yourself accountable, then maybe you need an accountability partner, or maybe you would benefit from a membership or a coach like me, where we can set those intentions and work together in that way. But, I think that for those who want a more flexible approach, working with somebody like me who can actually work with you week to week or month to month and say, okay, here's a great plan for this month. Here's where I feel your priorities are. Is this something that you agree on? There's buy-in, right? So not just finding a coach that can say, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, but hey, I see that these things sound like a priority to you. They are in alignment with your core values and with your family needs. And this is a great action plan that I think would work for you this month. Is this something that you agree with the time and resources that you have? And then there's some feedback back and forth, right? So ultimately, the buy-in of what are my goals and what do I want to achieve, and then finding a way to not only hold myself accountable, but finding that support system if I'm struggling in that area.
Yeah, I love that. I think one of the things I really loved was when you were saying like having that support. I feel that has been such a game changer for me when I learned one of the things I think is like it's one of my self-care principles is being able to ask for help. Because I think that is where I struggled a lot. And a lot of it came down to not necessarily that the people that I would reach out to couldn't help me. It was the fear of being judged for asking for that help, because thinking that, well, if I put that out there that I'm being vulnerable in this particular area, that I can't do something or I need support around it, someone's going to judge me for it and thinking that I'm not qualified to be doing what I'm doing, or shouldn't you have the answer to that already? And it's not, when you're in it, it's so easy to not see the answers. I mean, we do have the answers within us, but it's so easy not to see the answers when you're the one in the middle of it. And so having someone like you were saying, yourself, that really works around this. This is how you help your clients, helping them to like see what they're missing, which is really right there. It's really kind of like lifting the veil, kind of. And I love that. And again, re-mentioning, which I love this too, is when you talk to them, it's not about like, okay, this is what you do. I want you to do X, Y, Z. It's about what aligns with them and in the
Absolutely.
time that they have, because it's the same thing for self-care. Like I might suggest to someone, maybe do, like as an example, my self-care in the morning is, I spend time with God. I journal. I do some journaling. I meditate. I've got a lot of more time because I don't have any children. I don't have grown children. We decided not to have children. So for me, my lifestyle is really super easy. The only person I have to really navigate around is myself and my husband. And so in the morning, it's my time. I can structure that. But someone who has a mom, I know some women who have moms of twins that are still like little, like, up 10 years old to like 4 years old, 10 years old, a couple of women that I know who have twins. So their lifestyle in the morning is going to look completely different to mine. So I will never say to them, oh, you have to do this. You have to follow this, because no one self-care routine is going to be the same as another's, because it depends on your lifestyle. So I love that you talked about that, because what is priority to you? How can you fit it in without also overwhelming yourself too, right? And taking yourself away from family. That is again key.
Yeah. And I want to add to that conversation, because even if as a woman who's not a mom, you might be juggling other things that are important to you. You might be caring for elderly parents. You might be caring for siblings. You might be caring for foster kids. Like you may have a lot of, I don't want to say downtime or free time, but you might be really involved in the community. You might be a philanthropist who loves donating your time. You might have other things that are really important to you than just business or just making money, right? And so it's like, how can we incorporate the things that we love, the things that we enjoy, and tie that into our lifestyle without our business taking over our life? That is where I love to focus. Yeah. And then going back to, it was something you said about, I'm not taking notes, which I should be, but you said something about just the accountability piece and that finding that support. So when you were saying that, the first thing I thought about was, well, that's why I created Grow and Flourish this year, because the feedback that I was getting from women, not just my clients, but throughout communities that I've been a part of. I've had a lot of speaking opportunities. I've had a lot of coaching opportunities. And I hear a lot of women and their needs and their struggles and what they're looking for. And community was the number one by far. It was having that support system. And so I knew that when I created Grow and Flourish, that there had to be a community piece that was super important. So that's what that membership is. It's a place for women to come together so that they feel supported and cared for. That's the Grow Inner Circle that we have as part of the Grow and Flourish Co. It's a place where you can speak up. You can ask those hard questions. You can get feedback and feel confident that you're in the right environment where you can feel heard and have those opportunities just like anybody else, to whether it's brainstorming or networking or feedback or just saying, hey, you got somebody to celebrate those wins or to help you get past those struggles, right? That's a community for you. So I love that you said that, because that is the number one thing that I heard women say throughout my conversations.
Yeah, I'm all about community. I feel like community is a self-care tool in your toolbox. We often
Yeah.
forget about that, right? And having the right community, being a part of a community that gets you, that knows the things that you're going through, sharing maybe some of the same struggles or challenges. And so you can actually relate to each other. You can feel like you belong and you can get your voice heard. And maybe even someone might be in that community that overcame a challenge that you're now going through. That's the power of community. That's why I love community. So I love that you have that. So beyond time and management, overwhelm can also stem from mindset and expectations, right? So how can entrepreneurs shift their mindset or adjust their expectations to better handle the overwhelm that comes with juggling multiple roles? Especially, you're a mom,
Yeah, I'd have to say there's a couple of different things that I think of when it comes to managing time and overwhelm, and your mindset. The first thing I would say is remember that you don't have to do it all. You are very capable of doing it all, but you don't have to do it all. There are ways to ask for help. You can go somewhere and look for those like-minded women who maybe are more skilled in a specific area in your business. So you don't have to do it all in your business and you don't have to do it all at home. If there are things that are consuming your time and energy and you don't feel like they are that you're able to be your best self when you're doing those things, find a way to delegate or outsource or ask for help, right? Another thing I would say is just to focus on the season that you're in this moment. Our lives change. We need to be flexible and be able to pivot when it's needed. Life has its ups and downs. Entrepreneurship has its ups and downs. And you have to be able to ask yourself, what is truly important and necessary right now? I can guarantee you, I can talk to 10 women today and I can ask them what are the things that they do on a daily basis. And we can probably drop 5 or more of those things that don't have to be done like that. And it's just because, like you said earlier, when you're in it, you don't see it that way. You don't see that. So just getting somebody's outside perspective, not to come in and say, hey, you need to do this in your life, you need to do this in your business, but hey, is this something that's really important? Is this something that's going to change your family for the better? Is this something that's going to push your business in the right direction? Is this something that's beneficial for you in your life or your business right now? Having somebody to ask you those questions it's a huge turning point in a conversation. So just
Yeah.
encouraging you to find an outside perspective, whether that's paying for somebody or finding somebody that's a friend that owns a business and can kind of help guide you, but asking yourself, is there somebody who can support you in that way? And then the other thing that I would say is, as an encouragement, as a quick tip, is to figure out what those goals are that are really important to you and break them down into smaller, simple, actionable steps. And then be realistic. Be realistic with where you are right now in your life and your business, and then be realistic as in what resources, time, or energy it's going to take to accomplish that goal. And it's not changing the goal, it's changing the way you make that goal happen. So doing fewer things with more purpose rather than trying to do it all at once.
Yeah. Oh, I love everything that you're saying. One of the things I'm all about structuring time. I feel that there's freedom in structure. And a lot of time people think, well, no, it's more rigid. But no, when you know what goes on your calendar, so having that clarity, staying within the season, like stay in your lane, like right now, you might have a bigger picture and it might get broader, but it's that all of that stuff down the road doesn't need to happen right this second. So staying focused on what's important right now, that way you don't overwhelm your calendar. That's why I feel like it's so important to be able to structure, like, what does your day look like, and having those questions. For me, for example, like if I'm going to be doing business building or business income generating activities, is asking myself, like, is this going to generate income for me, like this particular thing, this event that I'm going to, the speaking engagement, this podcast opportunity, or whatever that is, this webinar, workshop, whatever that looks like. If it is, then how much time is it going to take? Because also it has to come down to the amount of time that it's asking for, and do I have that time availability? And if I have any resistance to like the time piece, because I feel time is my most valuable commodity and I need to protect it. And if it's too, like if someone has like a really long, 5-day, a 5-day challenge, and I really am interested, but I don't have the time really to invest in that, then I'm going to be able to have to say to myself and be confident that no, it doesn't align. Or is it, if it isn't an income generating activity, then I have to ask myself, well, if it's not, then it's going to be filling my day with busy work, or is it going to distract me? So being able to, like you were saying, go through the process of asking yourself questions like, how is this really helping me with the bigger vision, and especially the vision that I have like right at this time, and moving that needle. So I love that you said that. And again, what's important to you? It's a lot of the time too, we can look externally, looking at what everyone else is doing and thinking like that's what should be important to us, and it's not. We have to look at like what's important to us, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to add a little bit to that too, because we all know that there's ads for pretty much this is just one of many examples, right? There are ads for pretty much every single platform out there. There is some type of business coach or business strategist teaching you how to grow on Instagram. There's somebody teaching you how to grow on LinkedIn. There's somebody to teach you how to grow on TikTok, like all these different platforms. And every single way is the best way. And you need to follow it to be successful, right? That's what these ads say. We are so, it's like we're so accustomed to believing everything we read, hear, or see. And I could say that about a lot of different subject matters. But the point of this specific topic is you are not the same as everybody. There is no one person and no one business on this planet Earth that is the same as another. Each person has their own unique abilities and skill sets. Whether you're the CEO of a business in that company, your organization is different because your people are different. The passion you have for your business is different. There are so many businesses that feel like there's just a huge amount of competition, right? And I can understand that there is a little bit of competition in a sense, because you probably have competing services, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you could just focus on what you do best, what does your organization bring to the table? What does your strategy business bring to the table? Why do people need to come to you? It's because of your story. It's because of your why, your passion. That's what makes you unique. And it's taken me a while to really see that, because the businesses that I was stuck working in prior to COVID, we never talked about those things. That was not something that they talked about. It was all about, oh, don't send them to this company because they do the same thing. Or, oh, we don't talk about this company because they're competition. And I still hear that today. So I think my encouragement is there's enough to go around for everybody. And there there are ways to connect and collaborate and build community, even if your customers and clients are using another service that's similar to yours or working with another company that you feel like is in competition. Because in reality, we each kind of go towards working with somebody who aligns with ourselves, who has a similar story, a similar passion, a similar mission, right? So as long as you stay focused on you and what you do to serve your customers and your clients, the better your business is going to be built in the long run, and the less energy and resources you're going to have to put in, because you're not fighting all the other people. You're only focused on yourself and what impact you're making.
Yeah. And I think that's so important to remember that, again, we're externally driven a lot of the time, and we don't need to be. Just look at what we're doing and don't worry about what everyone else is doing. We're individual for a reason, and it's a beautiful thing that we all bring our own flavor to things. And I think if we could just lean into that, I think that's where the authentic the terminology for people when they're talking about being your authentic self is like really just tapping into your own skills, your own way of doing things, and really like finding like what you're good at and being good, and just really honing those skills, and knowing that even if you do the same thing as someone else, how you do it and how you look at it and your views and your core values and how you work with people is going to be completely different than the other person who does the same thing as you. And it's okay. And we didn't get on this earth anyways. There's too many people on here. I don't believe, even if I could, that I would want to be able to serve 8 billion people. I mean, I would have to be this supercomputer, but then I would have no life. So it's just really like there is enough to go around, and I love that. So as we near the end of the year, many entrepreneurs are finding themselves reflecting on their goals, and sometimes they feel like they haven't achieved as much as they had hoped for, thinking that they should be much further along. Why didn't they reach that goal? They made a huge, goal last year, same time, and said, by this time next year, XYZ is going to happen. So what would you say to those who may be doubting their progress to help them stay motivated and keep moving forward toward their success, even when things don't go exactly as planned?
So it's natural to reflect on the year end. And often I do have clients coming to me that are feeling discouraged, especially if they are, comparing themselves to others in their niche or their industry, or if they have a specific ideal vision of success and maybe they're not there yet, right? But I always try to remind my clients that it's not just about the big wins. It's about the small steps that you're taking. And there are small victories in what you're doing each week, month, year. And if you'll stop and quit looking at the gap from, hey, I'm here now, this is where I want to be, start looking at the gain each week or each month and each quarter and say, okay, this is something great that happened this past week. This was a move in the right direction. That's something to celebrate, right? So if you create this system, is what I teach my clients. It's a system that helps them celebrate the small wins and see those achievements. And I think it's a really big deal, not just for solo business owners, but larger organizations as well, because it keeps everybody motivated. It helps them stay in that momentum, right? Because they see that everybody's rowing in the right directions and things are happening. May not be the perfect goal was completed. We've met our expectations every time. But if you can just think about the things that you're proud of each week, personally and professionally. And again, this is all something that I learned back in corporate, because the company that I worked with, we did this and we practiced it with our own organization, and we practiced it with our clients as well. And it worked. I think it worked not just for me, but the team that I was so happy to be a part of. And it just helps remind you of your growth, right? Success is not, I don't think it's really a sprint. I don't think it's something that is even like all the way in one direction, right? Success in your business, it changes. You have to be able to pivot with the things that you're not able to accomplish. and be able to not change the goal, but just change the way you achieve the goal, right? So if something you're doing is not working, you need to be able to pivot, figure out what that thing is, and try to figure out how to make it work for the better so that you can achieve that goal. So moving forward, learning, building that foundation for long-term success, and just being able to look at the bigger picture and be able to see what's working and what's not working so that the things that aren't working, you can improve and make better and do differently the next day.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you joined in today and shared your expertise on creating a sustainable approach to thriving in our businesses and our personal lives. Because I feel like sometimes we get into our own way, thinking like, oh, I have to like push because now we're near the end of the year. I mean, we are like, what are we at 31? No, actually more than that. It's 41 days, 42 days. I don't know, however many days are
Something
left
like
in
that,
the
yeah.
year, right? So when you look at, like, we've got all of these days, it's more than 42, but
Yeah.
I can't do the math right off the top of my head. But there's not that much time left in the year. And we start to get in our heads thinking, oh, I haven't reached that goal. I haven't done this. Oh, I said I was going to do this. I said it publicly, and now I'm embarrassed because I didn't reach that goal. You know, there's a lot of people that are out there that are extremely successful that I am sure have not met goals that they said publicly, and they're still going for it. So, you know, it's just being able to have that confidence that no matter what, we're in the right place at the right time where we are at, and just being able to focus on those things that matter right now so that we're not getting too far ahead of the goal, too far ahead in the journey, and just being able to actually, you know, ask ourselves those questions like, is this really, you know, something that I need to be doing, or is this something that I'm just filling my calendar so that it looks like I'm being busy? It makes me feel like I'm busy. And being able to structure your days, your weeks, your months, your quarters, and having that foundational piece, you know, like as you were saying, really looking at how do you celebrate those wins, because it's not just about like the big milestones, but there's small steps each day that you take that you might have been afraid to do, and all of a sudden you didn't. It's like, that should be a celebration. So I've learned to start doing that, and, you know, even having like end of day reflections just to make sure that I'm still on track. And I even do my journaling in the morning is really about like, how can I make this a better day, you know, and those are parts of my questions. So I love that. And I really appreciate how you talked about community. I mean, so much that you shared was incredible, but community to me is huge. I really push community because I think that is where you're going to feel like you're going to get the support that you need. Yes, coaches are fantastic. Get yourself a coach if you need that support. And I think that's important, but be also part of those communities where you feel like you belong. People get you. They understand the journey that you're on. They might have faced some of the similar struggles, or maybe they're going through the same challenges, and you can each help each other, you know, grow and move through them, because that's what the community is about. So I love that. That you shared that. So thank you so much. I love also that you talked about, you know, holding ourselves responsible, because that is another key piece to being able to, for boundaries. You know, boundaries are not barriers. So I know a lot of people think of boundaries and they're really thinking of barriers. You're not trying to keep other people away. You're just trying to make sure that you look after your time and your energy well, so that you show up the
Right.
best that you can, right? So
Yeah.
I really love that you do that. And it's really one of the reasons why, you know, like with my program, and how I help my clients, really helping them to master their time and energy, and so that they have more quality of life. It really is, I really want to be able to help women just to stop, you know, that managing part, you know, feeling like, you know, putting a Band-Aid on it, but really actually going in and getting back into alignment and having that emotional resilience and empowering themselves. So I really believe it's about building a life where you don't have to sacrifice the important moments, like you're saying. Like
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
you have kids, so I'm sure you've had times where there's been the 2 p.m. play date, and they are like looking at you, and you're like working, and you're just like, just 5 more minutes, and that 5 more minutes turns into 2 more hours, and you don't want to be doing that. Or you might have regular dates with your hubby or your spouse, your partner, and you can't because you're not fully present because you're thinking about all those things. Like, you really want to be able to be present. So I really love bringing experts on like yourself to really pour into our audience so they feel empowered. So thank you so much. I'm grateful that you carved out time today to spend with us,
Absolutely.
sharing your knowledge. Yeah, it's really been a pleasure having you.
Well, I appreciate you for having me. When you reached out to me for this particular topic, I knew that this was in alignment with what I teach and what I share so much value around, because building a business is unique for every single one of us. And I love reminding women that they don't have to choose their career or their business over their family. There is a way to have a thriving business and a successful business without sacrificing your family time. And again, that's where the whole Grow and Flourish Co. developed, was the stem of me seeing that need, not just in my community locally, but with the women that I talk to all over the world. And, just being able to say, hey, if you're watching this interview and you are feeling resonated with what Leslie and I have talked about, reach out to Leslie, reach out to me. If we're not the right fit to help you in whatever situation you're in, I know that Leslie and I know a lot of women who have so many different skill sets. And if we're not the right fit to support you, then we will help you find somebody who is. And we would just love to get to know you and be able to give you some type of next step for pushing past this overwhelm in your business.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that because it is important. And yes, we both have people in our corners that, and in our, I guess, our phone book, if you will, because we've curated those people and brought them into our community, just like I brought Heather into my community. I feel like she's been an asset for me, and I really love having you as part of my inner circle. So thank you. And to those of you watching live or watching the replay, if you're feeling stretched thin from balancing your ambitions with your personal life, know that you don't have to settle for constant overwhelm. You can have a fulfilling business and a meaningful personal life, meaning that you can have it all. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're ready to start making that shift, I encourage you to book your complimentary wellness strategy session with me, where we'll explore how to reclaim your energy, focus, and fulfillment so that you can thrive both in business and in your life. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, you'll find the link in my headline. For those of you watching on YouTube, just reach out to me by email, which you'll also find in the About section, and I'll send you the booking link. Remember, the journey to a balanced, fulfilling life isn't about doing more. It's about aligning your actions with what truly matters. Each small step you take to honor your time and your energy is an investment in yourself, your family, and your future. Embrace the power you have to create a life where success doesn't come at the cost of your joy, and know that with the right support and strategies, you can thrive in both your business and your life. So thanks again, Heather, for your valuable insights. And thank you to everyone who tuned in today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.